Another exciting video from Pycoders Academy with me, Faisal from Pycoders Academy. Okay, so in our previous video, we actually looked at the menu widgets where we learned about how to, let's say, create some drop downs at the top there as we saw in the Python IDE. Yeah, so today we'll be looking at the canvas widget. Okay, so simply the canvas widget is actually used in, let's say, drawing lines and circles, polygons, and so on. So let's say the figures we have in maths and so on, we just use the canvas widget to do that. So when I want to draw a circle, I just use the canvas widget. When I want to draw a line, I just use the canvas widget. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing in this video. So okay guys, so welcome back to this Tkinter series course. Okay, so as I already said, we said we will look at the canvas widget. Okay, so we will just list the figures we will be treating. So it's actually not all the figures, but it will be, let's say, 90% of the figures. Okay, so quickly let's do our often code we write. So let's write the code we write always. So I can just write up. So let's just import it straight away. So from Tkinter import star. Okay, so that's what we do always. So from Tkinter we import the star. Okay, so let me. Okay, so now I'll name my app name to be app. So as we always do, so tk. Now just close it. So the app.main loop. Okay, and okay, so as we always say, or as we always do, we actually create a variable and we actually store our widget inside. Okay, so quickly we can just create a variable as conv. So what we'll be doing is conv. We'll be using the conv variable for our canvas widget. Okay, so as we always say, we start each widget name with a capital letter. So canvas will start with a capital C. Okay, so as we did for all the widgets, so I'll just start with a capital C here. Okay, so okay, so canvas. Okay, so I have this. So starting with the capital C, then so that's how to spell the canvas, CANVAS. So starting with the capital C. Okay, so that's the convention. Then you bring your brackets. Okay, so your bracket actually contains the first parameter, which is always the master parameter or the key parameter. So that's the app name. So our app name is the app. Okay, now we have several options we can just pass. So we will actually be focusing on three of them. We will be focusing on BG, that's the background, then the width and the height. Okay, so we can find more out of let's say the options we have in for the canvas widget. Okay, so let's look at the widget. Okay, I will just ignore this for now, and let's say I will be changing the parameters a bit as we move on. Okay, so I will just change my geometry to today I'll make it a bit big here. So I'll pass 1200 to 1200 by 1200. Okay, so quickly. Okay, so we are done with this one. Okay, so actually let me pack it and let's we won't actually see anything, so we shouldn't expect anything here. So I will just pack it. So conv dot pack. Okay, so we haven't done anything yet to see anything. Okay, so I just want to pack it and run it for you to see what is going on here. So let me just run it. Okay, so I has no okay, I didn't spell this right. So geometry. Okay, Okay, so geometry. Okay. Okay, so let's go again. Okay, so actually this is my window, the 12 by 100 window, so 1200 by 1200 window. Okay, so actually let's start looking at how we can create all the figures we talked about. So first we will look at the line figure, but let me actually bring you a list of the figures we have. So actually let me go here. So before you create any figure, you just create a variable to, let's say, create that figure. So as I have here, I can actually let's say use this variable, the cam variable dot. So actually you take the variable you have created, the canvas object you have created, as just a class or object. Now inside that object we call some methods. So as we did in classes, we have methods in class, and those methods are just functions. So you assume the line or the rectangle or the arc to be a function or a method inside that class. So when we call it, we just pass in our options, then we draw our line. Okay, so as you can see here, we have create image, create oval, create line, bitmap, and rectangle. Okay, so these are not all, these are some of them. So we will just start with the create line. So you can see create line here, then self acts here. So I'll just click on create line. Okay, so now the create line actually takes in coordinates and the background and also the fill. Okay, so let me bring the options. So we have, I'll just create a comment here so that we will actually know what we are saying. Okay, so we have coordinates. So coordinates, we also have BG, which is the background. We have the fill. Okay, so these three are the simple options we can get for the create line. So the create line, actually the first coordinate is, let's say, the first option is the coordinate. So the coordinate is, let's say, the point you want to use to create your line. So the first point will actually be the x naught. So x naught, so it means the x naught means the starting x, so the starting position. So let's say let me actually run this, and let's see if I don't get an error. Okay, I want to use the background. Okay, let me remove this and use the background. Okay. Okay, so as you can see here, if I want to draw a line, let's say I want to draw a line from this point up to this point. I just need the coordinates here. So the coordinates here will be let's say some value from the top here and some value from the top here. So here, from here to here will be my x naught, then from here to here will be my y naught, then from here to here, from the top to the last point here will be my y1, then from here to here will be my x1. So like, sorry, from here to here will be my x1. Okay, so the x naught actually represent the starting x or starting horizontal distance, then the y naught will be the starting vertical distance, then the y1 and x1 will be the vice versa. Okay, so actually let's do what we are doing. Okay, so we have now we pass the, okay, we have y naught also, then the x1 comma y1. Okay, so these are the four coordinates we use. So we just pass it here. So let me pass it. So let's say I'm starting with a horizontal distance of 50 and a vertical distance of actually 50, then a horizontal distance of let me see a horizontal distance of, let me see, 120, or let's do it 200 here, 200. Okay, then a vertical distance of, let's say a 50, so that it will be actually a very horizontal way. So 50. Okay, so something like this. Now I'll pass the BG here. So the BG will actually be something like I'll give it a blue. Okay, so actually let's run this code and see. Okay, so okay, it's failed rather. So let me run this code. Okay, so it was failed rather. So this is actually for the canvas here. So actually I can also specify the canvas width. So the width of the canvas I can specify it here. So width, then I will specify the width of the canvas. Okay, so it's not necessarily here, so I'll just clean it. So I can specify the width of the canvas, then the height of the canvas also. So when I have my page, let me run this code and see. So when I have my page like this, I can specify the width of the canvas, then the height of that canvas too. So I can section my page and so on. Okay. So I've actually created a line here with a blue fill color. So I started from let's say here was let me see, started from 50. Okay, so I moved 50 here, then 50 here. Then I also move 50 here, then 200 from here to here is 200. Okay, so that's what we are doing. So when you want to draw a line, you just use the of create line method inside the object you created. Okay, so simple. So we just created a line here. So quickly let's look at how to create a rectangle. Okay, so we just use the same coordinates. So use the same coordinates, then we create that rectangle. So rectangle. Okay, so you see I wrote a wrong method, so the right method is create. So we always start with create, then the let's say the figure count. So create line, create rectangle, create arc, and so on. So let's use this. So now I'm filling the rectangle with blue. Okay, so you can see I have this here, but actually a rectangle is not like a line. So a rectangle should be let's say I have a coordinate here, I have another one here, I have another one here, I have another one here. So I should be having four key points. So let's say for x naught, then I'll have x1, y1, then I'll have, okay, so let me be writing here. I think I'm speaking a lot. So I'll be having x2, y2, then I'll be having x3, y3. Okay, so this will be the coordinates I'll be having. So this will be actually, let's say, the top point. The Okay, this will be the left top point, the right top point, the down left point, then the down top the down right point. Okay, so I'll also pass something like so here I'll pass, so the down one should be at the top. So the x, I'll move 50 from the horizontal, then the 100. Okay, 100 will be too small, so I'll give it something like 300 from the top. So I'll start with the 300 from the top. Okay, so 300 from the top. Then for the right hand side, I'll also go a 200 from the horizontal. Then from the top, I'll go a 300. Okay, okay. So let's go again. Okay, so wrong star coordinate, expected 0 or 4, got 8. Okay, so I'm getting 8 here. Y, MC. Okay, so it should be 4 rather. So okay, so why is it 4 here? Okay, so it's a simple way of saying let's say I'm drawing a rectangle. Okay, so actually let me open a word pad here so that we can see what we want to say. Okay, so word, so let me open my word. Okay, so word. Okay, so it's okay, sorry, should be word pad here, word pad. Okay, Okay, so I have this Wordpad, and let's say I want to create a rectangle. So let me actually draw a rectangle here. So okay, I should print diagram. Okay, now I want to draw a rectangle. I move from here to this top here, down, then here, then here. Okay, so if you can see what I'm doing here, let me extend this. Okay, so if you can see what I'm doing here, I'm actually starting from a point here. So let's say the point started from let's say a 50 here. So let's say a 50. Okay, now I also started from a 50 here. Okay, now I ended at, let's say, a 200 here with the same 50 from the top. Okay, now I also have, let's say, 200. Okay, here should be a 300 with the same 200. Okay, then here should be also a 300 with the same 50. Okay, so that's what we are saying here. So you should have four coordinates. So instead of eight, as we said, it should be four coordinates. So here you should have, let's say, from the top here, or from the horizontal here, which is 50. Now it should end with since the y is constant, we should end with the x here. Then we come down here, so the down here should be 300 and 300. Okay, so let's go to our PyCharm and see. Okay, so our path, so as we said, 50, 200, then 300 by 300. Okay, okay, so let's see what we actually drawing. Okay, so perfect. Okay, so as you can see, it's very perfect. So we started from 50 here, 50 here. Now we moved from let's say 300, 300. Okay, so that's how to draw a rectangle. So you just specify the, let's say, since the y is constant, you just specify the x. So let's say x1, x0, x1. Then you move to y1, y2. So that's what we are saying. So now I'll just clean this one also. Okay, now I'll clean this. Okay, okay, so we have just four coordinates here. So okay, so I should clean this one. So just four coordinates. Okay, so that's how to draw a rectangle. So we have actually learned how to draw a line and how to draw a rectangle also. So we will look at how to draw the rest of the figures in our. Okay guys, so welcome back to this section. In our previous section, we looked at how to draw a line and how to draw a rectangle using the canvas Tkinter widget. Okay, so simple. So now let's look at how to draw the rest of the figures. So let's look at the figure we will try to draw. So I'll just write create. Okay, so you can see text, overall, image, and rectangle. Okay, so I'll just go with the text for now. So we will just use the create text to draw a text. So we will actually draw a text here. Okay, so let's look at how to do it. So I'll just, okay, now the text actually takes only two coordinates. So two coordinates. Okay, so the two coordinates will be, let's say, from, let's say, x0 and x1. Okay, so here will be x1, so x0 and x1. So let's say starting from the horizontal and ending at the horizontal. So I will start from 50 at the horizontal and end at 200 at the horizontal. So then you pass, let's say, a text here. So text. Okay, now the text variable will be what you want to type. So I'll say okay, or I'll just say creating a text, Okay, so now let's run this code and see. Okay, so mm, oh, Okay, so let me actually think my laptop is freezing. Okay, so as you can see, I have this here, so 50 and ending at 200. So the creating a text is actually when I want to, let's say, instead of using the label method, I can use this method to actually write text. So I can create a text here using the let's say canvas instead of the label widget. Okay, so simple. So this won't takes as much time. So we move on to the next figure, which is, let me see, create. Okay, so the first one we did just now is the create text. Now we move on to the create. Let me see which one is. Okay, so create. So create. Let me go again. Create. Oh, PyCharm. Okay, it's coming. So create text, create line, create oval. So we have oval here. Okay, so oval is something like an elliptical shape. So when you want to draw an ellipse, you use the create oval. So when I want to create an oval shape as like an egg, as in an egg form, I also know how to create it by using the create oval. Okay, so the create oval actually takes in 4 coordinates. Okay, so the x0, x1, then the y1, then why not? Okay, here should be why not, and okay, so okay, so x1, y not, and y1. Okay, so it's much like the rectangle, so I'll just do the same here. So 50, 200, then I'll say 300 by 300 also. Okay, now the text will go, since we are not dealing with the text. Now here should be, let's say, a blue color. Now let's run this code and see. Okay, so you can see I'm getting an oval shape here. So an oval shape. Okay, so I've actually drawn an oval shape using the canvas widget. Okay, so simple. Okay, so without wasting my time, move on to the next figure on our list. Okay, so the next figure is let me say. Okay, so the next figure is, I think, polygon. Okay, so create polygon. So when I want to create a polygon, I actually just do create polygon. Then I'll use the same options. So I'll run this code and see. Okay, I'm not seeing anything here. Okay, so I'll just change the coordinates here. So 100, I'll pass 200, then I'll pass 150. Okay, now let's go and see. Okay, still not seeing anything. Okay. Okay, so I'll just do 0, 200, 150. Okay, so I'll do 0, 200. Okay, 150, 300. Okay, now I'll pass another one to here, 300. Then I'll say a 150 here. Then I'll give it a 200. Then a 0 here. Okay, let's run this code and see. Okay, so it's actually taking, it should not be, let's say, 4 coordinates. So that's the standard, but it shouldn't even be 4 coordinates, because when you are drawing a polygon, 4 coordinates won't be enough to draw a polygon. Okay, so I specified, let me see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So I specified 8 coordinates before I could be able to draw this figure. Okay, so simple. So when you want to draw a polygon, you should actually, let's say, solve something on a paper. So what you want to draw, you draw it on a paper, you give it, you dash it some coordinates you want to use, then you just draw it here. So simple. So that's how to draw a polygon. Okay, now it's left with just two figures, so we will do that in the next. So we covered the polygon, we covered let's say the text, we also covered the oval shape. So actually we will look at the next figure. So that will be three figures. So it will be the arc figure. So the arc figure is actually, let's say, just an arc. So create, then I'll say arc underscore arc. Okay, now the arc also takes only 4 coordinates. Now the arc is actually a special let's say figure. So when I want to draw an arc, so I just use 4 coordinates though, but I'll create a start option and also an extend option. So the start option is something like let me see. So start, then I'll say 0, then I'll say extend, then I'll say 150. Okay, so these are some two options we actually use in creating an arc. So you start from 0, then you extend it to 150. So when you want to create an arc, you actually need your coordinates. So as I have my coordinates here, then you specify where you want to start from. So I want to start from 0, so I started from 0. Then the extent you want to end, so which is 150. So simple. Okay, so that's how to create an arc. Then you fill it with blue or any color. Okay, so we move on to the next one, which will be okay, let's see, bitmap. Okay, so bitmap is actually images, or let's say some figures that specify a specific let's say a specific event. So let's say I want an error image, I use bitmap. So the bitmap is actually let's say just images, so you take it as just images. Okay, so when you want to draw images for a specific error, a specific so they are just specific, so they are always specific. Okay, so let's look at how we can go about it. So it's pretty simple, like what we have been doing. Okay, so here should be bitmap. So instead of create arc, we'll be using bitmap here. So let me create underscore bitmap. Okay, so create underscore bitmap. Okay, so that's how to spell bitmap. Okay, so simple. Now we actually have to pass just two coordinates. So create bitmap, now two coordinates. So as we did for let's say the the line, so we just pass two coordinates. So I'll pass 10 and 200 here. Now the bitmap actually is let's say we have to specify a specific bitmap. So we have some specific bitmap here. So I can have the error bitmap, we have the gray 75 bitmap. So these are actually conventional, so it's actually by default, so it is there. So we have the error bitmap, the gray 75 bitmap, we have also the gray 55, the gray 50, sorry, grade 50, we have grade 25, so we have grade 12, we also have our glass, so our glass. Okay, so it should be R here, our glass. Then we also have info, We also have quest head, we have question. Okay, so the question bitmap, you have the info. Okay, we have already written info. We have the warning. Okay, so warning. Okay, so these are all the bitmap we have in Tkinter. So that's the default bitmap you can have in Tkinter. Okay, so I will just do a simple bitmap here. So here you just change. Let's say I'll just clean these options, and I'll bring the bitmap option. So you just write bitmap, then specific bitmap will come. So the specific bitmap, let's say I'll pass it a warning bitmap here. Warning, it should be in quotes. Okay, so quotes, another quote here, and then comma. Okay, so something like this. Now let's run this code and see. Okay, oh sorry, there should be no fill here since it's just the bitmap. Okay. Okay, so it's actually taking longer than expected. Oh, okay, so this is the warning bitmap here. So this is the warning bitmap. Okay, so when you want to use a bitmap, you actually use create bitmap. So I can also use let's say the question bitmap here. So question. So depending on the bitmaps you can see in there. So the one I have listed here, you can just use that one. So question. Okay. Okay, so let's run this code and see. Okay, so today the Python is actually slow. I don't know why. Actually. Okay, so you can see that. So forgive me, today my Python is actually working very slow. So this is the question mark bitmap. So when you want to actually put a question down, and let's say you need a bitmap, you just use the question mark, and so on. So these are just two bitmaps I've showed you. So you can also work on these ones, the ones we haven't tried our hands on, the error, the hourglass, and so on. So yeah, you can actually do this let's say bitmap on your own. Then the last one will be our image. So creating an image. So let's say I want to add an image to my let's say Tkinter. I can just create use the create image to do that for me. So I'll just do create image. So create underscore image. Okay, so let's say I want the image to be at 10,200. So I'll just do okay, I'll just specify more here. So let me see, 300, 300. Okay, okay. Oh sorry, it should be just two. Now the image has an option here which is called the anchor. So the anchor has another parameter or another value called the NW. Okay, so let's say I want to specify the location of our image. It's, let's say you can take it as coordinates. So let's say northwest, northeast, and so on. So let me see. So let's say I want to place it at northwest of my page. So I'll just do northwest. Okay, or I can specify southwest, or I can specify northeast, and so on. So I'll just use northwest here. So now I'll be placing it at northwest. Okay, Now when I specify this, I need to specify the image. Okay, now Tkinter actually is found of let's say GIF. So let's say I want to use the canvas, I'm restricted to GIF images. But when you want to apply it to all the let's say the image shortcut, there is let's say a model you have to use, which is called the PIL. So you need to import it. So if you don't have it, you can just look for it and download, or I'll just put a link down there for you to just download it. Okay, or just install it. Okay, so I'll just do from PIL. So from PIL. Okay, now let me separate this. So from PIL, we should import uh, image tk. So image tk and image. Okay, so the image tk will be, let's say, our main class, then the image will be our method. Okay, so let's look at how we can go about it. So I'll just create an image, a variable called img. Okay, so the img will actually open my image. Okay, so let's look at my script folder here. The script folder actually contains a file, a photo, so a file image here. So let me look for it here. Okay, so file.gpg here. Okay, so I will try and open it using the PIL image tk. So I'll just do image, then I'll say image tk. Now this will be my main class, then I will import something called photo image. Okay, so the photo image is here. Now I will just do image dot open. Okay, now this is just the main class, then the photo image will be my method. Now inside that photo image there is another method, or there is an option which also is the image option. Now the image option is also takes in another built-in method which is called the open. So the open will actually open my image for me, so which is file.gpng. So as I have here, GPG. Okay, so let me put my arrow on it. So you see Python is actually a great an editor you can use. So as you can see, when I do file.jpg and I put my cursor on it, it's actually showing me the image here. So I want to put this image on my page at the northwest. Okay, so let's look at how we can do it. Now I will just specify the image here. So img. Okay, so img, so image will be equal to, so the image is just an option inside my let's say create image built-in function. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so I'm clearing everything, sorry. So image is equal to img. Okay, so image is equal to img. Now let's run this code and see. Okay, so you can see I'm having the image here, but it's actually not showing well. Okay, so let me see why it's not showing well. Okay, so I think the coordinate I gave is actually a bit not okay here. So I'll give it let me see, a 200 by 200, or let me see, a 500 by 500 here. So 500 by 500. Okay. Okay, so oh, give me a moment. Okay, so the thing that they show here. Okay, so let's actually do a 10 by 200 here. Okay, now I'll just do again. Okay, so this is what I had. Now I'll just change this to, let's say, a width of, let's say, okay, a height of, so let me change the height to be let's say a height of or a height of 1,000. Okay, so I'll change my canvas height to be 1,000 here, so that we will see the full image. Okay, so the full image. Okay, so let's run this code and see. Okay, so I'm getting the full image here. So now instead of 10, I'll just let me change this to, let's say, a 40 here. So let's run this code and see. Okay, so now it's actually working fine here. So this is my full image, the God of War image here. So I've actually added an image to my canvas page, or an image to my page, using the canvas create image. So simple. So this is the end of the road for canvas widget. So I think that's not the end of canvas for you. You need to look for more examples, more options, and so on for canvas, for you to be practicing the canvas widgets very, very well. Okay, so I think that's that for canvas widget. We will actually do a big project on the Tkinter widget at the end of the course, for you to actually appreciate what we have done so far. Okay, so that's the end of the road for the canvas widget. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel and like this video. Okay, so